Hi guys, thank you for joining me. Today let's decorate another cake. We're doing a vanilla cake with a strawberry filling. I start by putting some buttercream onto the cake drum. You want to make sure this is pretty evenly distributed. This is gonna help to keep the cake adhered to the board so it doesn't move around. I start by putting one of the layers of the vanilla cake. Try to ensure that it's centered. Then I'm now applying some simple syrup. This is just 1 part of sugar and water. It helps to ensure that the cake stays moist. Now I'm just applying a thin layer of buttercream. Using the offset spatula, I'm just spreading it around to ensure it's even. Now I'm piping a dam of the buttercream around. This ensures that the filling stays put inside and doesn't seep through the end. Now I'm going in with the strawberry jam. It's almost like a strawberry caramel because it's thick and sticky, gooey, and very tasty. And this I make homemade as well. You want to ensure that the filling is all the way to the corner and there is no space. If the filling is not evenly distributed, it allows air bubbles, which can eventually cause the filling to seep through the sides. Now we're going to repeat the same process with the second layer. You always want to continue to check to make sure that your cake layers are evenly set on top of each other. This ensures that when you're done, your cake is pretty straight. Once again, I'm just using my offset spatula to ensure that the corners are pretty much sealed and everything is locked in properly. It's just added measure. When I decorate cakes, I like to use cold cake layers. This helps the frosting to set faster, so it builds for a stronger foundation. Here again, I'm just applying some simple syrup on this layer. And as I said, it helps to keep the cake moist for as long as you have it. And this ensures that whenever you're serving the cake, it remains soft, moist, and delicious. It's definitely an optional step, but I find that it always gives an amazing outcome. Again, just a layer of buttercream. Use the offset spatula to just smooth it out, ensuring it's evenly distributed. Once again, I'm piping another dam around this layer. The dam helps as a barrier to keep the filling inside and from seeping out onto the sides of the cake. And adding the strawberry filling. Just ensuring to fill in all the gaps, that everywhere has even distribution of filling. Smoothing it out using my offset spatula. And adding the final layer of the cake. Once the layers are all set in place, now it's time to go ahead and crumb coat the cake. Because this cake is being covered in fondant, I like to go ahead and crumb coat with chocolate. And since it's a vanilla cake with strawberry filling, it goes really well with a white chocolate ganache. You just want to work fast with this and just ensure that the chocolate ganache is pretty thin and spreadable. Because your cake is cold, it allows it to spread properly without hardening too fast on you. Just want to go ahead and just make sure the entire cake is evenly covered with all the ganache. This locks in all of the crumbs, ensuring you have a smooth surface to work on and decorate your final cake. There, I have the entire cake fully crumb coat. Now I'm going in with my bench scraper just to make sure all of the sides are smooth and even. At this point, because the ganache has hardened onto the cake, I have a pot with hot water that I'm keeping next to me that I constantly would go ahead and dip the spatula into, and also the bench scraper. This creates the metal to become nice and warm, and it glides smoothly, helping you to smooth the ganache onto the cake, removing any imperfection you might have. Now we're cleaning up the edges and filling in any spots remaining that I may have missed before. And you keep going until you have a fully crumb coat cake. Now it's time for us to decorate. Today our fondant is dyed in green. We're going for a field look. I roll out the fondant. First, I brush the entire cake with some water. This helps the fondant to stick to the cake. Then once you layer the fondant on top of the cake, you want to work really fast but gentle at the same time to ensure that the top corners are sealed onto the cake properly. This ensures that the fondant does not pull and rip in the corners. After ensuring that the top is properly secured, you just want to work around and down, just moving around the cake. And here I'm just removing the excess fondant. It helps with the weight that's hanging down from the cake and gives a better room for you to work. And you just continue playing around, working around with the fondant, just opening the pleats and just gently massaging it onto the cake. As you do this, the fondant stretches also on its own, so it enables you room to ensure that everywhere is securely covered. There you go, fully covered. Just using the fondant smoother, want to gently press and work around the cake, ensuring that the fondant is properly secure onto the cake and there is no air bubbles underneath. And finally, just removing all of the excess fondant from around the cake. Next, I just covered the cake trim with additional fondant. Here I'm trying to achieve the looks of additional grass. The theme today is for a cricket cake. At the moment of filming, I did not realize that I wasn't fully on screen, but you can see that I'm working on the cake. And there, that's better. And then using a sharp knife, I just trim off the excess. Now for the exciting part. I'm using a fondant cutter to just go ahead and cut out like little white picket fence. This I'm attaching with some edible glue to the sides of the cake all around. It was the first time using an extruder to make grass. It's quite nice. I usually do it with just the buttercream, but today I'm just making the grass using fondant. Now I'm just adding the final touches. Those are called veils. They're part of the wicket. And now I'm getting ready to add the bat onto the cake. Before I added the bat, I added some boba tea straws into the cake. This allows the support so that the weight of the bat does not sink the cake. And there you have it. Cricket themed cake completed. I also added happy birthday onto the cake board. If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe. Thank you for joining me today to create this very exciting project. Have a good day.